Hello and welcome to this second RadiMation tutorial. I'm Jelle from Raditeq and today we'll be looking in how to configure a device driver in RadiMation. I've already started up RadiMation, which I showed last time how to install it, and we'll get right into how to configure your device. As an example, I'll be using a RadiSense Electric Field probe or field sensor to demonstrate how to configure a device. First, we need to go to RadiMation, of course. I'll be using the free version of it because you can configure devices in the free version as well. We have to select device or devices, I have to say. Then select configure, and in the configuration screen you'll see that I have no available drivers at this moment, but also that the type is currently at absorbing clamps. This needs to be in the field sensor range. If I select this, we'll see that it's still empty because I have not yet configured a device. We simply need to add one. So we'll click add and we'll have an overview of all available drivers for this device driver type. In this case, what I said is we'll look for the RadiSense or the RadiSense from Raditeq. Normally it's easiest to select the brand, but normally if you type Raditeq here, it will also show up. I'll be using the RadiSense 10 isotropic version, or RadiSense I, and we'll select this. So either double click it or press new. I'll just double click it, and now we can give it a name for this configuration. In this case, I'll just leave it like it is because I don't want to give it a specific name, but you can give it a name so you can easily find it, for example, or give it a specific identifier number that you know which one you are selecting if you have multiple. So that's why we have this. If we press OK, and if yes, the device driver settings will open. In the settings you can, for example, still adjust the description that we just added, so it's not static anymore, but you can change it. You can change the or add the version, the hardware version, identify your serial number, and much more. And in a later tutorial I will show you how to add a calibration file or a correction file, which can be done in the fields here below. This only applies for devices which needs correction files. What we'll do now is we'll press check and see if it works. What will happen now is that RadiMation will tell us that the RadiSense is not connected. This is because we just added a new driver, and the driver will be in a default settings, as it were. So we have to go into the advanced settings, click advanced, and in advanced settings we get a lot of new tabs and information what we can change. As you can see here, default communication settings or communication streams in this case is set to RS232, but I am using USB. So select the type that you are using, like USB, and you see that this has a device identifier. This is best if you clicked detect, because then it automatically detects the RadiCenter and will adjust the identifier to the correct one. So that's working. But now if I would have selected check again, it will not work again because I'm using a RadiCenter, and I'm using a RadiCenter with 9 slots, which means that I have to tell RadiMation in which slot of the RadiCenter the RadiSense is. So you can do this to go to the RadiCenter, select the multi-slot RadiCenter, and then specify the identification. In this case, it is in slot 6. So now I have basically the most standard information set up. So I'll press OK, and then I press check. I press check. What we see now is that it still doesn't work, and this is due to the fact that I have not yet configured the RadiSense in the RadiCenter. So we'll now quickly switch to the RadiCenter and see how to configure that. So right now I'm standing next to the RadiCenter, and as you can see next to the RadiCenter I also have a RadiSense, but you see that in the 6th slot of the RadiCenter, the RadiSense is still in standby mode. So we have to start this up, acknowledge the I don't have, well, you can see it, but acknowledge is over here, and we have to press this as well. And when we acknowledge it, the laser will start. You can also see it on the left here now that the laser is on. It's easier to also zero right away so that the probe is also actively measuring. As you can see now here, there are already some measurement information going into the RadiCenter. So now we can go back to RadiMation and select to check again and see if the RadiMation receives the RadiSense. Okay, so now we're back at the RadiMation again. I just turned on the laser of the RadiSense. So now we'll check with the RadiMation if it receives the communication stream of the RadiSense. It tells me that the device has been communication has passed. So now it's correctly configured, and that's basically it. Now I successfully have configured the RadiSense in RadiMation as a device driver, but I can also read out some active measurements that of the RadiSense. Because I'm in RadiMation 3, I can also access this. So to see some active measurements of the RadiSense, simply go to Devices again, select the Device tabs instead of the Configure, Field Sensors, and select the RadiSense that I just added. Then a new screen will show, and I will press Connect. It says now I'm connected. Change it to Manual. And now we'll see that some minor field will be detected. And that's basically some active measurements that you already can do with the RadiMation and with an electric field probe. Note that the RadiMation has multiple device drivers for a lot of different device types. So not only for electric field probes, but also for analyzers, power meters, and for basically any device needed for an EMC measurement. RadiMation currently has more than 5,000 drivers, and if we don't have the driver that you need, most of the time we will create it for you. Thank you for your time and watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.